I want to talk a little bit about survival tools you keep in a vehicle. And I have cordless power tools I use with work. And they obviously, all that stuff comes in two different grades. Okay, on a lot of your conventional carpentry type power tools, the Ryobi grade is lower but still functional and gets the job done. And then the DeWalt tools are higher end. And the thing you really got to look at with the DeWalt equipment is it's so expensive that loss and theft become major issues. It becomes a pretty big loss on that situation if one gets lost or stolen. Now, when it comes to cordless chainsaw, neither Ryobi nor DeWalt is in the cordless chainsaw business. And when I keep survival tools in vehicles, I want to think about the Pioneer kits that we used to have in the military vehicles, or an equivalent, which was usually a shovel, a pick, and a axe. And with those three tools, in theory, you could build or construct some things. If you had 2 or 3 people in a vehicle, they could take turns on those tools and probably get, some shelters built, or maybe get the thing out of a rut, or make some kind of little improvised bridge type of thing. And that was considered something for breaching obstacles in a pinch, although you would have real engineers and real breaching teams, usually not too incredibly far away. With civilian usage, hey, we like to use power tools. We want to make that work a lot easier. And in bug-out situations, especially if you're in the backwoods, chainsaw in a vehicle is kind of a must-have. And if you're in a situation like Maine Proper, where he lives in the North Woods full-time, he's a big fan of the gas saws because they need more power. The other thing is, up in Maine, they get a lot of hardwoods growing, okay? A lot of oak, a lot of hemlock, a lot of deciduous trees. They lose their leaves in the winter, and those tend to be hardwood trees. Here in Oregon and in the Pacific Northwest in general, we have a lot of softwood trees. These are fast-growing trees. They get a lot of growth in the summertime, and then in the very wet winters, those trees absorb a lot of water, and they can have rot issues and fall down on their own. But if they've been cured into lumber, they make excellent lumber. And because of that, whenever we're looking at building stuff in the backwoods in the Pacific Northwest, the chainsaws, you don't really need super high horsepower on a chainsaw. So the electrics are actually not half bad for that. Here, Oregon saw, even though they contract to make these things in China, they're probably, arguably, the highest quality of the cordless chainsaws in the market right now. The Greenworks is a really popular model because they've been featured in a lot of infomercials. It's kind of like a slightly more deluxe version of the Ryobi 840 volt one that actually never got released to the public, at least not by mid-2013, when it was supposed to be released in late 2012. And cost-wise, you're looking at about $250 for the Greenworks or $500 for the Oregon saw. And you get what you pay for in that respect. But either way, it's a hell of a lot better than having no chainsaw at all. And either one of these is going to be reasonably decent for getting some obstacles out of the road or taking care of the falling limb of opportunity to, let's say, dice up a fallen limb and make firewood out of it. Okay, a little fallen, what we call windfall, right? You talk about, hey, we had some good luck, something came down for us. That's windfall. We're going to heat our house for a night because we found a windfall branch. You want to jump out of the vehicle, dice that thing up really quick, and have your house warm for free for the night. You got to have a chainsaw that's ready to go right away. And my choice on that is the cordless saws. So for in the vehicle or ready to go type stuff, I don't want it to be my best stuff. Okay, the vehicle can break down, somebody can scavenge and rob me. I'm kind of thinking Greenworks saw. If I'm going to use something a little more professionally, a lot more frequently, that sort of a thing, it's going to be the Oregon saw. And if I'm going out for a job where, hey, I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket, then, you got to think about having more than one saw. So right now, it's kind of a mismatched situation because had kind of a windfall situation that brought the Oregon saw into the tool inventory, at least temporarily. And we'll be doing more evaluations on this. But as a survival tool in your bug out vehicle, yeah, cordless chainsaw probably is a must-have if you're in the Pacific Northwest. But you know, the more I think about it, it's kind of going to be a must-have anywhere. The only time you're not going to do this is if you really feel that you don't want any kind of mechanical saws. You just want to have axes and stuff. You want to do things like Wrangler Star does. That's great. But you also have to realize a lot of that's kind of skill oriented. You can have accidents just as much with handheld saws and axes as you could with a chainsaw, and those accidents can fuck you up just as bad. The as far as being totally in a desert where you're just not going to have access to limbs or trees or small trees, maybe it's less of an issue. But I see this as kind of something that I'm always going to have on a bug out situation around a vehicle. We're going to have chainsaws. And the reason I prefer the electrics is because, you know, obviously I do a lot of stuff with solar. These are some panels that are going to a retreat location for somebody. And with the free power means you've got your chainsaw usage. There is maintenance issues, but it's not as intense as with gasoline-powered chainsaws. You would expect to want to have some extra, maybe some tools for adjustment. The Greenworks saw doesn't require any special tools for adjustment. The Oregon saw, you can do it with the, they give you a nice little logo screwdriver when you get it, but the rest of us are probably going to end up using our Leatherman tool. But these are cordless chainsaws. Is it a lot of money? It's kind of relative to what it's worth to you to stay warm at night. I'll be honest with you. That's pretty much how it goes. A lot of people have been able to stay warm at night for hundreds, thousands of years without having an electric chainsaw. But there's also that issue of your economy of effort. I pull one of these out within 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. I've got enough firewood to go for the night. If I'm going to be hacking on something with an axe or with a conventional saw, that means I have to stop earlier. I probably don't want to screw around in the dark with an axe or a handsaw. With this thing, if you've got a headlight or somebody holding a flashlight for you, you can cut the wood and then just start burning it right away. As long as the wood's not wet. Then you could cut it, you just can't burn it right away. So as far as building shelters and that kind of stuff go, really great. And the other thing, of course, you're not going to make as much noise in the woods. You're not going to need to bring the fuel along. All you need to do is make sure you can power your battery chargers either from a vehicle inverter or a solar array or a generator. And I do recommend having an electric saw, a cordless electric saw, as part of your survival outfit. If your only choice is one of those Ryobi saws because you're already using the Ryobi tools, it's better than nothing, but not by much. But the idea is to make sure that your cargo volume versus cost versus convenience adds up. If you can afford it, great. Oregon saw is probably arguably the best of its kind out there. The Greenworks is decent. It's decent. And we're going to show some more evaluations later on with these saws in action.